So yeah, we're now live. Good morning here and good evening Philippines and as well as good afternoon in the Middle East. So welcome again to IFNG Live with 9.09er, and our topic for today is writing. So everyone, if you're having hard time with writing, this is the best time for you to watch our video, our live, and please don't forget to tag your friends if you're watching on Facebook. So yes, without further ado, let's welcome Sir Philip. Sir Philip, welcome back. How are you?
Hi, hello. It's always good to be back. I hold on. How do I do this?
Okay.
There you
Yeah.
go.
If you have question, just type in. No need to unmute your mic, so we will not disturb our live. Okay.
All right. Okay, cool. So to reiterate, it's important that you ask any questions that you may have during the time that we have together. The one of the major benefits of joining the discussion live is interaction. So during the next 2 hours, we shall be working on how to identify good arguments for your writing task too. It's a topic that is best done together, you and me, because brainstorming these things is usually done on your own. And the problem with coming up with arguments to use rather in writing task two is that you're not so sure all the time. Tama ba to? Like, are these arguments on point? Am I addressing the keywords? So let's go through this process together so that afterwards you have a much better idea of how to do it on your own. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them dito sa chat, sa Zoom. And I believe we're live as well in Facebook. We are live in Facebook, right? Yeah. Harken, where's this? Oh yes, sorry, IFNNG live on Facebook. So I understand that there's going to be some lag with Facebook compared to here at Zoom. So no worries though when it comes to that. It's important that you try to participate as much as you can. And if you're not able to, if you're not able to join us live, and which means that you're going to be watching this after it's already been posted, then no worries about that as well. If you have any questions, feel free to type them. All right, so let's get started. What happens in writing task two? Who here have already tried to do an essay sa writing task two? Paramdam. Sino dito na try na magsulat ng essay when it comes to the Ielts? Alea Kilang, I see a hand there. Only one. Christina Sino, group 4. Yeah. So it's Luis Prieto, si Emily. So we have 4 people here who have done it already. It's hard, diba? It's hard. We begin with the most important insight when it comes to writing in the IELTS, and that is, why do people not get the grades that they need? The most common reason why people do not get the grades that they need for writing is time. You run out of time. No matter how smart you are, if you're not able to write down your smart thoughts, then this means that you're not going to be able to get the grade that you need. Parang ganun siya. The exam, after all, is not a telepathy exam or from your thoughts straight to the examiner's thoughts, but rather it's a writing test. You have to put your thoughts down on paper. You have to type it out. And that is why the most a good way for you to practice for this is that when you're doing your writing tasks, either at home, on your own, or in the center, is for you to do tasks 1 and tasks 2 together. Sabay mo siya. No? Rather, maghanap ka ng isang oras sa buhay mo, then do your task 2, and then do your task 1. So that you have a good sense of how much time you need, or rather, you have a good sense of how fast you need to be in order for you to accomplish both tasks within the 1 hour. Most common reason for failure. Kailangan kabisado mo yung pakiramdam ng isang oras. It is very, very, very fast. And so please do that. However, the second most common reason for people to fail in writing um, is being off topic. Nadidiskaril yung um, yung mga thoughts. You end up talking about, you end up saying things that have very little to do with what you're actually asked to talk about. Failure to respond to the keywords. And this second problem is what we're going to be focusing on tonight. The second and the first one, because brainstorming is good, but you need to be able to brainstorm in a quick manner. You don't have an hour to do your essay. You don't have 50 minutes to do your essay. You have roughly 40 minutes to do your essay. Kasi may writing task one ka pa. Either a letter for those of you taking general training, or a report for those of you taking the academic version. Whichever version you're taking, pagdating sa writing task 2, essay ang gagawin natin. So let's begin. Let's start with a simple topic, and let's see what you guys come up with. Shall we? Try natin. Let's begin with a simple topic. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to type them anytime. Oh, it seems Sir Irvin is here. Good evening, Sir Irvin. Hello. Okay, let's start with something simple. Some people think that it is better to eat in restaurants because it is more convenient. Others say that eating at home is better since it is cheaper. Discuss both views and give your opinion. So, this is an example of an essay type called Discuss Both Views and Give Your Opinion, where you're expected to give a balanced two-sided essay. So, let's divide it into two. So, there are two views for you to discuss. You're presented with two things. You're presented with two things. Wait. So you have a view one and a view two, which you're supposed to discuss. Now, before I ask you for ideas of what to say for each view, reasons why each view is correct, let me just answer this question from Grizzle. She says, Sir Philip, clarification please. In computer-based IELTS exam, it doesn't matter if I will start from task 1. What do you mean? Are you asking, okay lang ba na unahin yung task 1 kesa yung task 2? Grizzle, is that your question? Okay lang ba na unahin yung task 1 kesa sa task 2? Or okay lang ba unahin yung task 2 kasi, well, ideally, it should not matter which one you do first, because whether you do your task 1 first or your task 2 first, you would be able to finish both of them within the time. However, the ideal situation is not what always happens. And if ever kukulangin ka, saan mas maganda kulangin? Sa task 1 or sa task 2? Classmates, if ever mabibitin tayo, ano ang mas magandang mabitin? Si task 1 or si task 2? Classmates. Hello. Correct, Christine. Sa task 1. It is much better for you to not finish. If there's a task that you're not going to finish, much better for you to not finish your task 1. Correct as well, Luis. Kasi it's 1/3 of your grade. Kesa naman na ang mabitin ka sa task 2, which is 2/3 of your grade. So that is the rationale why it makes more sense for you to begin your writing with your task 2. Para ano man ang mangyari, well, hindi naman ano mangyari, but you have a higher chance of completing your task 2 kung inuna mo siya. Do you understand, Grizzle? Do you understand, Grizzle? Do you understand, Grizzle? Yes. Okay. Cool. Again, if you have questions, you're welcome. All right. Let's have some arguments. Because in the Ielts, you're supposed to be writing an argumentative essay, an essay that is trying to prove a point. You're trying to convince someone of something. You're trying to persuade someone of something. Can you give me reasons here for V1? Ano yung point natin kay V1? It is better to eat in restaurants because it is more convenient. Sige nga. Can you give me reasons here, guys? Try. Some people think it is better to eat in restaurants because it is more convenient. Can you give me some arguments? Can you give me reasons why this could be true? I'll give you time. Elise is saying variety of food choices on Facebook. Anything else? Let's give Luis Prieto Sunga says variety of menu. I think that's the same. Ria says some people don't know how to cook. Okay. Christine says no need. Oops. No. What's that? No. Hold on. Oh, no need to. Where's this? To take time to cook. Pepito Manalo, time saver. Catherine Riza Katiis, it is convenient and food readily available. Sure. Mark Mauricio says, no need to pay for business costs. For when eating in restaurants, ready to eat. Sabi ni Criven, less strain. Grizzle says, for working class people, more convenient. Relaxing, sabi ni Pipito. Patricia Nicole in Facebook says it saves time. Lakas says restaurant is more cozy. Talaga. Okay. Angie says, where's this? No need to spend time on cooking. Okay. Elise says no need to clean your leftovers. Ariane, Cresta Corpus, no aftercare. Responsibilities, such as washing dishes. Aftercare, parang corpse lang, no? Parang may namatay. Tapos parang napakalaki ng hinanakit sa paghugas, sa mga hugasin. Ayaw na ayaw ni Arian yan. Sure. Relaxing face, accessible. What do you mean by this? Mary Ann. Pag-usapan natin mamaya. Maybe one last. Joanna May Agbayan Facebook says, different ambience or vibe. Okay. Joy says, pay and go. Ken more free time. All right. Thank you. You have several ideas. How about view 2? Is that many view 2? Oh, wait, hold on. Let's add one more, I guess. This is the same. Ria says can choose what to eat. All right, sige, try natin. How about view 2? View 2, guys. Others say that eating at home is better since it is cheaper. Luis Prieto says lesser food expenses. Criven says healthier, large quantity of serving. Okay. Sige. Practical, sabi ni Pepito Manal. Yunilo Halasan, sabi niya cheaper sa Facebook. Angela Tayamora says safe preparation. MSMT says comfortable. Emily says enhances cooking skills. Luis Prieto Sunga says control over the ingredients. Pepito Manalo, hygienically prepared. Jen Bibbs, less interaction with other people. Sherry says no tax. And Mary says avoid service charge by paying overheads. What? We'll examine that later. Healthier than public restaurants, sabi ni Grizel. How about you in Facebook? Yvonne Kayaban Manalang says more personal touch of flavor. Draw Feliciano says stellar ambiance. EJ the Bishop says unlimited as the serving is not minimal. Importante talagang hindi nagugutom. Priority, hindi magutom. Sure. All right. And maybe one last is sabi ni Criven, less food waste. Thank you. Thank you. You see, it's easy in a way for us to come up with arguments because on promise ni Ielts is that the topic in the essay that you're going to be given is something that requires only general knowledge in order for you to write about. Let's emphasize that a little bit. You are not required to have specialist knowledge in order to answer the question. You don't need to be a scientist. You don't need to be a theologian or a metaphysician or a healthcare professional. You will not be asked like pathophysiology or pharmacokinetics or meteorological patterns, but rather you're going to be asked about a topic that anyone can answer because it is relatable to you. In this case, restaurants and eating and home. However, because the topics that we are given are familiar and relatable, we come up with lots of ideas, but not all of these ideas are appropriate for the task that we are given. Keywords ang labanan. Keywords ang labanan, whether it's listening, reading, writing, or speaking. Keywords ka babasa, keywords ka babagsak. So having lots of ideas is great. It's a great problem to have. But a related problem is out of these many ideas that we have, alin lang dyan yung pasok sa ating task description. The majority of these arguments that you offered, unfortunately, are off topic, but that's okay. I mean, it's why you're here. But let's examine why these examples, why these arguments are not okay. Let's label them first. Isa-isahin natin. So I have a question. When it comes to the first view, how many keywords do you see? Classmates, can you give me a number? When you read view number one, how many keywords ang nakikita mo doon? Let's see whether we are on the same page when it comes to this. What's view one? Some people think that it is better to eat in restaurants because it is more convenient. How many keywords ang nakikita mo dyan? Si Ian Mark, dalawa. Si Gina Blacada Lee, dalawa. Si Angela Tayamora, 5. 2 and 5 are very different. How about the rest of you? Come on, try it out. Some people think that it is better to eat in restaurants because it is more convenient. How many keywords do you see here? Rizal says 5. How about the rest of you? Anne Mary says 4. EJ the Bishop 2. Elise Ann de los Reyes 2. Melissa 3. MSMT 4. Ria 6. Sherry 4. RV 3. G Lani 2. Christine Nasino 6. So you see, people see different things as evidenced by everyone not having the same answer. Iba-iba tayo na nakikita. So lesson number 1. Oh, what's that? Hold on. Who is that? Excuse me. Hold on. Yeah. So going back. So lesson number 1 when it comes to analyzing is that kailangan himay-himay yung keywords. You gotta break it down, your task description, into all of the relevant concepts that are discussed. Try natin. What's the first keyword that you see here? Some people think that it is better to eat in restaurants because it is more convenient. What's the first keyword that you see? Classmates. What is the first keyword that you see? Correct, Ria. Better. Pag sinabi mong better, ano yun? Guys, positive or negative? Classmates, when you say better, what's that? Positive or negative? Positive, correct. So therefore, ilalaban mo yung eating in restaurants is indeed more convenient. It's something that you're gonna stand for, stand by, and you're going to support. Better daw yung ano. What's the next thing? What's your next keyword here? Better to what? Better to eat, correct. You're not going to invest, you're not going to manage, you're not going to visit, you're not going to decorate, but rather better to eat. Eat saan? Himay-himay. Eat where? Eat sa restaurants, correct? Restaurants, Anne Mary. No? Bakit daw better to eat in restaurants? What reason was provided? Oops, convenient? Correct, Gian. More convenient. Well done. Yeah, mas convenient. Right, so we have several keywords here. One good way to think about these keywords is to think of them like Venn diagrams. You know, yung mga circle. So, kunyari, this is everything about eating. Yeah. And this is everything about restaurants. And this is everything about convenience. Oh, hold on. This is everything about convenience. Kailangan, yung argument mo, swak sa tatlong yan. I mean, to illustrate, if your argument is somewhere here, pak, no? Yeah, it's about eating and restaurants, but it's not about convenience. Off topic. If your argument is here, pak, yeah, it's about convenience in restaurants, but it's not about eating. You know, like the Wi-Fi is strong, the parking is great, and the ekis din siya. If your argument is here, pak, yeah, it's about eating and convenience, but you didn't localize it in terms of restaurants, off topic again. So the only time that you have a fighting chance to get the grade that you need to get the life that you want is if you hit the bullseye here in the middle, which is, you talk about restaurants, you talk about convenience, and you talk about eating. You need to hit all of the keywords in your argument. Tignan mo yung arguments na binigay natin dito sa view 1. Isa-isayin natin. First of all, by the way, what does convenient mean? Convenience. Ano sabihin nun? Convenience. What does that mean? If something is convenient, what is it? Simple? Maybe not. Not necessarily. Comfortable? No. Not necessarily. Satisfying? No. EJ, comfortable? No. Easy. There we go. If something is convenient, then something is easy. Less effort, less hassle. Correct. Noor, Fahad, and Elise. No? Less effort. So let's look at the arguments here. No, not subtle, Curtin. Even whether something is subtle or obvious has nothing to do with convenience. Not favorable, no? Not necessarily fast, Joy. Less effort. So let's examine the arguments here in view 1. First of all, bakit daw convenient? Sabi ni number 6, kasi convenient. Did argument 6 offer a reason why we should believe that eating in restaurants is more convenient? Argument 6. Did argument 6 offer any reason why we should consider eating in restaurants to be convenient? Classmates. Number 6. Did argument 6 offer any reason why eating in restaurants is convenient? It did not. Inulit lang niya. So that's not how you do it. You need to present argumentation in order to convince your reader of the point of view. It is redundant. What other arguments are redundant? What numbers? Look at it. What other numbers here are redundant? Walang inoffer na reason kung bakit convenient kumain sa restaurants. Look at the screen. Which numbers, which arguments here do not offer anything new? Inulit lang na convenient. Elise says 11. Correct. More convenient. Angela Tayamora says 8. No, not 8. Michelle Ann Tarobago, 11. Yes. EJ the Bishop, 12. No. Gina 10. Correct, Gina. Less strain is the same as less effort. Jake Viado Clemente, 13. No. 16. No. Guys, alin dito, inulit lang yung convenience. You just said, you just repeated. You know why convenient? Kasi convenient. You didn't offer anything. Which one here? Meron pa. Parang inulit. Correct, Gian. Time saving, number 5. Well done. Cool. All right, let's, another thing. Which of these remaining arguments wala namang kinalaman sa convenience? Like, it's not about a reduction of effort. Which numbers have nothing to do with convenience? 13, correct, Christine and Joy. Cozy. Cozy means nice, comfortable, but comfortable is not the same as convenience. It's different. Correct, Jake. Elisa, 17, correct as well. Ambiance. Kung may chandelier, is it going to be easier to eat? I don't think so. Not at all. 12. correct as well, Cha and Ria. Relaxing. Relaxing is different from convenience. Grizel, no. Accessible does mean convenience. Michelle, yeah, you're correct. 17. 8L, correct. L Pabelona. No need to pay for business costs. In the first place, that's wrong. Because in restaurants, you do pay for business costs because it's a business. No? And second of all, it has nothing to do with convenience. EJ says 12 and 17. Yeah, we've canceled that already. Wait, siya. Kung hindi mo kailangan maghugas ng kung hindi mo kailangan maghugas ng pinggan, 'di ba mas madali 'yun? 'Di ba less effort 'yun? Wala siya. 16 accessible. Who said accessible? Who said accessible? May nagsabi ng accessible kanina. Sino nagsabi ng accessible? Who said it? Okay, Grizel. What do you... Oh, and Anne Mary. Accessible and convenient is not the same. When something is accessible, what did you mean by that? When eating at restaurants is accessible, what do you mean by that? Grizel and Anne Mary. Let's see if they're able to explain it. Grizel, Anne Mary. Sabi mo accessible daw. What does that mean? What did you have in mind? Grizel, Anne Mary. What did you have in mind? What did you mean? Anne Mary says, it's everywhere. We can find it easily. How about you, Grizel? It's available, sabi ni Yvonne, kaya ban manabang. Sabi ni Elise and Delustre is easily located or easily available. Criven says closer distance in comparison to home. Yeah, something like that. When you're away, for example, you don't go home every time that you have to eat. They're everywhere. No? How many homes do you have? One, or maybe one more. But how many restaurants are there? There are thousands of restaurants. So they're easy to reach. In one sense, therefore, mas madali siyang puntahan, less effort. So, Joy, do you understand now how being accessible and being convenient? Pasok siya? Joy, do you see now how if something is accessible, ibig sabihin, madali siyang i-access. Therefore, less effort and less hassle. Yeah, lovely. Which ones here are... Okay, great. Now we have remaining arguments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 9, 14, 15, 16. Sinong naiba, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 9, 14, 15, 16. Sinong naiba na argument here? Everything else can be grouped together. We have several arguments remaining. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 9, 14, 15, 16. Which argument is different from the rest? Which argument is different from the rest? Classmates, we have several arguments. No, one argument is different from the rest. So we have these arguments remain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 9, 14, 15, 16. Which arguments are different? Which argument is different? Gian, Ria, Angela, Elise, Michelle say 16. You are correct. Itong ibang to, see variety of food choices, can choose what to eat, these things. Variety of food choices, you can choose what to eat. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. When it comes to variety of food choices, saan mas maraming choices, guys? Sa restaurant or sa house? Where are there more food choices? At home or in a restaurant? Grizel says in the house. How about the rest of you? Sunshine says it's in the restaurant. Hmm. Is there variety of food choices in both restaurants and at home? Is there variety of food choices both in restaurants and at home? Yes. Oo. But I think what number one meant is that mas may variety of food choices. Sabi ni Ria, sometimes daw kasi when she's at home, she doesn't know what to eat. Lol. No? Sabi ni Sunshine, it depends. If you have lots of food stocks at home. I guess. Do restaurants have a fixed menu? Yes, they do. Sa bahay, is there a fixed menu? At home, is there a fixed menu? Classmates? No, no fixed menu. So, using that analysis, saan kaya mas may variety of food choices? Restaurant or home? Home, in a sense. Like, ma, paluto naman ng spam. Ay, sorry anak, wala yan sa menu. Here is the menu. Pumili ka dyan. Wow. So not necessarily. It depends on the mother's choice, sabi ni Gian. Home menu is situational. Depends on the ability, sabi ni Yvonne, at home on which dish they can cook. That is true. And you can buy anything that you want and eat it at home, in a sense. So not so much. And in the first place, we're not talking about having lots of food choices or less food choices. What we're trying to argue here is, saan mas madali kumain? If you have lots of choices, is it harder or easier to eat? I can have bagoong and rice at home, sabi ni Grizel and wala naman yatang bagoong sa Jollibee. So in that sense, yeah, you have more choices at home compared to restaurants. Guys, I have a question. Where is it easier to eat? More choices or less choices? Saan mas madali? Maraming pagpipilian or konting pagpipilian? More choices or less choices? Correct. Less choices. As EJ says, it's harder because if you have more choices, as you'll get confused on which one to choose. Yeah. I think all of you have experienced this analysis paralysis. Nakapila ka sa restaurant tapos nakatitig ka sa menu. Hala, ano kayang gusto ko? Oh my gosh, what am I gonna get? Palapit ka ng palapit sa counter. Hindi mo pa rin alam ang gusto mo. Oh my God. You know what I mean? Out of the many choices that you have to deal with. So anyway, so the point here is that variety of food choices is not really about convenience. And question, when you say you can choose what to eat, sabi ni Gian, eating in restaurants is like answering SAT questions. I guess, which is the ideal choice. I have a question, classmates. Yung sa number 2, can choose what to eat. In restaurants, can you choose what to eat? Classmates, in restaurants, can you choose what to eat? May pumipilit sa'yo? Ay, sir, kailangan chicken joy. Kailangan ang kainin mo dito. Are we forced? Are we forced when we eat in restaurants? Classmates, are we forced? No, we're not. At home, can we choose what to eat? At home, can we choose what to eat? Yes, we can choose what to eat. So, parang pareho lang, di ba? Like it's exactly the same. So, not really a very good argument to use. On the other hand, the remaining arguments, some people don't know how to cook, no need to take time to cook. Food is readily available. It's ready to eat. No need to clean your leftovers, no aftercare responsibilities. All of these things, they seem, why is that? How come you don't need to know how to cook? Why is the food readily available? Why is it ready to eat? Guys, bakit hindi kailangan mag-clean ng leftovers or maghugas ng pinggan in restaurants? How come? How come? It can be bought. Bakit? Yung kinakain mo sa bahay, it can also be bought, right? Focus. Why don't you need to cook when you are in restaurants? How come you don't need to clean up when you are in restaurants? Because there are people who will do it for you. Correct, Ian. You get service. Let's write that down. Service. There's service there. Is it possible at home for there to be service? You know, you have a cook, you have a helper. It's possible, but not necessarily. However, in restaurants, by definition, do you always have people who will serve you? All the time. Do you have people to serve you in restaurants? Yes. Correct. All the time. So we have two arguments for us, for view two, service and accessibility. Two arguments then. Let's do exactly the same thing when it comes to view two. What is view two? Others say that eating at home is better since it is cheaper. How many keywords do you see here? Sana this time we have the same number. Others say that eating at home is better since it is cheaper. In this view, how many keywords do we have? Grisel Lendio says 2. How about the rest of you? Focus. Others say that eating at home is better since it is cheaper. Sabi ni Elise, 4. Ria says 4. Criven says 3. 4. Ian Mark 4. Okay. A lot of you are saying 4. That's correct. There are 4 keywords. What's the first one, guys? Eating. Correct. Eating where? At home. Is ano daw? Better. Bakit? Because it's cheaper. So again, Venn diagram. Your argument has to be about eating at home being cheaper. So if it's not about eating, it's not about home and about being about cheap, it being cheaper, then your argument is off topic. You have to hit the bullseye, the one in the middle. Tell me, guys, which of these arguments repeat lang yung cheap? Bakit daw cheaper? Kasi cheaper. You know, no new reasoning was provided. Number 1, correct. Bakit cheaper? Kasi less food expenses. Malamang less food expenses, kaya nga cheaper, di ba? 5, cheaper. LOL, bakit cheaper? Kasi cheaper. Thank you for your contribution. Practical, yeah, I think that's no new argument was mentioned there. What else? 12? No, not 12. Which of these arguments it just repeats cheaper? Meron pa ba? Wait lang. Wala na. So yun. Which of these arguments walang kinalaman sa pera? Classmates, which of these arguments in view 2 don't have anything to do with money? Didn't talk about money. Pepito Manalo, 2. 2. 16. Christina Nasino. Stellar ambiance. No? No, not necessarily. And hold on, can you have stellar ambiance in restaurants? Wait long. Can you have stellar ambiance in restaurants? Classmates. Can you have stellar ambiance in restaurants? Classmates. Can you have stellar ambiance in restaurants? Yes. Can you have stellar ambiance at home? Yes. So, so not a valid point of comparison. It depends, but can you have stellar ambiance in restaurants? Yes. Can you have stellar ambiance at home? Yes, then. So doesn't can't really compare those things. What else did you say? What are the things that you have said? Let's take note of them. You said healthier, Ian Mark, safe preparation, G and comfortable. I agree with you. Comfort has nothing to do with cheapness. Luis Priatosung at 10, hygienically prepared, or at least you have greater assurance of hygienic preparation because you're the one who's doing it. Ian Mark, enhances cooking skills. I agree. It doesn't mean that your cooking skills are enhanced that you save any money. Well done. Reassess 6 and 7. We'll talk about that later. Luis Prieto Sunga, 15. More personal touch of flavor. Agree. It doesn't mean that you can add more bagoong than usual and it's customized to your palate that it is any cheaper. I agree. How about the rest of you? EJ says 9. Control over ingredients. We'll talk about that in a while. Angela Tayamora and Michelle say 11. Less interaction with people. Wait lang. Angela Tayamora and Michelle and Tarobago. Bakit? Wait. If you have less interaction with people, is it possible that you will save money? By definition, you do have less interaction with people if you eat at home compared to eating at restaurants. Classmates, can that potentially lead to saving money? Maybe that's something that we can talk about later. Sometimes, if with friends. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that, I guess. We'll reserve it for later. What else? Grizel Lendio says 17. EJ, the bishop, also says 17. Unlimited, as the serving is not minimal. Who said that? Unlimited, as the serving is not minimal. Who said that? Hello. Unlimited, as the serving is not minimal. Who said that? Hello, classmates. Unlimited, as the serving is not minimal. Who said that? Uy, ayaw umamin. Hala. Okay, I'll just scroll up then. EJ the Bishop says, yeah, there you go. Thank you very much, Sophia. So, EJ, when you say that, you know what, unlimited as the serving is not minimal, what did you mean by that? That's fine, Sophia. EJ, what did you mean by that? Sa bahay, unlimited as the serving is not minimal. Hello? Let's wait for them. Let's give them some time. Let's pray for them while they're okay. EJ says, you get to eat as much as you want at home. When you eat at restaurants, do you also get to eat as much as you want? In other words, is there a limit to what you can eat in restaurants? Classmates? Classmates, is there a limit to what you can eat in restaurants? No, there is not. No? There is no limit. Like, sir, hanggang 2 rice ka lang, ha? Bawal na. Rasyon. May gera. Of course not. It depends on the budget. Okay. Sa bahay, the amount of food that you can eat, does it also depend on the budget? Sa bahay, the amount of food that you can eat, does it also depend on the budget? Yes, because I don't think your food comes from heaven, or maybe you have a farm, but you still do have to pay for the food at home, right? Hindi naman dala ng mga anghel galing langit yung kanin or something. Pwede pareho lang. Pwede pareho lang. So maybe not. So maybe not. Sino nagsabing less food waste? Less food waste. Who said that? Less food waste. Who said that? Criven, what do you mean by that? Criven, what do you mean by that? Can save leftovers for another day sa bahay. I have a question. Sa restaurants, can you also save leftovers for another day? Sa restaurant, kapag kumain tayo sa restaurant, can you also save leftovers for another day? Yes, you can take it out. Pwede pareho lang. Balot-balot, parati may dalang Tupperware, ganyan. Kapag nasa party, ikaw yung medyo makapal yung mukha para hindi sayang yung pagkain. Pingin naman. PG na PG. No? Charot, joke lang. So, yes. So, but it's the same. You can also avoid food waste for both home and restaurants. My entries is Sonia Munir. Because it is just leisure activity rather than squandering money of food items which is easily cooked at home in reasonable price. Eating at restaurants is a leisure activity. Squandering money on food items. Yeah, so you're saying that it is cheaper to eat at home. Why not? So that is what View 2 is asking for us. Who said no tax? I order only what my budget can handle, as everyone should. Who said no tax? No tax. Sino nagsabi nun? Si Sherry. Sherry, if you eat at home, you don't pay tax? If you eat at home, you don't pay tax. Kasi nga, nag-dinner ka na ba? Sa Pilipinas, 9:55 p.m. na. Nag-dinner ka na ba, Sherry? Anong kinain mo ngayon? Abangan natin yung kinain ni Sherry, ha? Dinner reveal. Malalaman ng lahat ng tao kung anong kinain ni Sherry. Uy, Sherry, anong kinain mo ngayon? Guys, do you want to know what Sherry ate? Free food po sa hospital. Sana all may free food, di ba? Sana all. Bigla na lang nagkakaroon ng pagkain na iyong lalamunin. Di ba? Hurrah. Shana. Shana. Reminds us of childhood. However, steak and salads. Oh yeah? That's sad. Salads are good. Steaks, we'll talk about that in a while. Groceries have taxes too, Grisel Lendio says. Indeed. Yeah, Elise and De Los Reyes, grocery items have tax. So unless you are harvesting your food straight from the farm, or if may padalang samgyup si Jesus, no, galing sa mga anghel, you are still paying tax. So you pay tax at home, you pay tax in restaurants. It seems to be the same, right? It seems to be the same. Sana all talaga. 14. It's healthier than a public restaurant. Do you agree, classmates, na kung kumain ka sa bahay, it's healthier than eating in restaurants? Draw Feliciano, I agree. We'll talk about that in a while. Ian says no. Chat says no. Grizel says yes. How about the rest of you? Elise says no. It is not healthier than eating in a public restaurant. Pepito says yes, though, and Grizel says yes. Angela Tayamora says yes, too. Can you give me reasons why? You're correct. Both can serve healthy food, indeed, and you can eat unhealthily at home as well. But what difference does it make if you are the one preparing your own food? What difference does it make if you are the one preparing your own food when it comes to health? Kung ikaw yung gumagawa ng sarili mong pagkain, ikaw nagluluto, ikaw naghuhugas, ikaw nagwawash, ikaw nag-chop, you're confident regarding what? You can choose the ingredients you use in the first place. You handle your own materials, adjust the taste, less salt, yeah, greater customization. If you order, I don't know, if you order chicken joy in Jollibee, diba? Yeah. If you order chicken joy in Jollibee, pero wait, pwedeng pa well done, pwedeng pa medium rare, nung ganun. Wait, less salt please on the fries. Hala, aside from hygienically prepared, you have the choice less oil, less fat, less sodium and all. Yeah, in that sense, you have greater control. Agree kasi alam mo kung paano preparation, you yourself can choose the ingredients. Awareness of the quality of the food. Yeah, so in that sense, we can put these things together. Wouldn't you agree? It's healthier, safe preparation, or at least safer preparation. Control over the ingredients, it's hygienically prepared. Not the taste. We don't talk about the taste, but rather these ones. I have a question. If the food that you eat is healthier, hygienically prepared, mga ganyan, do you save money? Your food is nutrient dense, no random bacteria. Do you save money, classmates? Yes. Yes, you do. You don't get sick. So you have less healthcare expenses. Mahal ba magkasakit, guys? Is it expensive to get sick? No, it is not expensive to get sick. It is super expensive to get sick. Diba? It is very, 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 very costly to get sick. In the Philippines, if you get cancer, ubos yaman, right? You have to pay millions and millions to get better. See, in Canada, if you get sick sa Canada, how much do you have to pay? I imagine some of you are headed to Canada to work or migrate. Magkano ang babayaran for healthcare when you get to Canada? Nothing. Nothing. It's perfectly free. Well, wait. Sorry, that's wrong. Of course, you pay. You pay in the form of taxes. It just so happens that when you get sick, it's not just you paying for your healthcare. It's everyone else in Canada paying for healthcare. So, ambagan. Ambagan. Yung sistema nila doon. Saya, di ba? Saya-saya. But anyway, the point here is that if you avoid sickness, that means you avoid expenses as well. Prevention is better and much cheaper than cure. Sana all Canada, Pinas, ano na. I know, right? Um, so there, in that sense, you spend less. It is cheaper to eat at home. In the long run, in the long term, rather than in the short term, but the savings are still there. Right? So the actual argument is something like this. Oh, I forgot to mention. Itong si number 3, sa bahay daw, large quantity of serving. Saan mas marami yung servings? Sa bahay or sa restaurants? Saan mas malaki yung servings? Sa bahay or sa restaurants? Classmates, saan mas malaki yung servings? Where can you eat more? Restaurants or at home? Can't both. But you can have large servings in both restaurants and at home. So, and in the first place, that has nothing to do with cheaper or whatever. It depends on the budget, but everything does depend on the budget still. Diba? Sa bahay, depends on the budget yung serving. Sa restaurant, dependent sa budget yung serving. So, doesn't really work. How about 13 though? Avoid service charge by paying overheads. Who said that? Hold on. EJ has a clarification. What I meant for number 17 is that at home, you get to eat as much as you want. When cooked at home, would serve 5 to 6 people, while at restaurant, that 300 worth would just be good for 2 people. Yeah. So therefore, it's not what you mentioned earlier, in the sense that your money would go further at home versus versus what would happen if you spent it in the restaurant. So had you explained it, then maybe. But what is the reason for that? Why does your 300 pesos go further at home versus in a restaurant? That is what view 2 is asking you to explain. Right. Who said 13? Avoid service charge by paying overheads. The examiner. Avoid service charge by paying overheads. Who said that? Anne Marie. Anne Mary. What do you mean by that? Magpe-pay ka ng overhead sa bahay? If you eat at home, you pay for overhead. What is overhead in the first place? Operational expenses. When you eat at home, you pay for operational expenses. Anne Mary, what did you mean by that? Yes, you're correct, Ria and Pepito. Electricity bills, etc. Why would you pay for overhead though, Anne Mary, if you eat at home? Uy, Anne Mary, why would you pay for overhead kapag kumakain ka sa bahay? There you go. We can avoid operational expenses when eating at home. Indeed. When you buy, I don't know, when you buy coffee in Starbucks, is it just the coffee that you're paying for? Classmates, pag bumili ka ng kape sa Starbucks, is it just the coffee you're paying for? No, right? Besides the ingredients, what else are you paying for at home? What else are you paying for kapag bumili ka ng kape sa Starbucks? The service charge, you're paying for the sueldo of all of the people there. You're paying for the sueldo of the barista, the janitor, the security guard, the accountant, the auditor, the manager. You're paying for all of their sueldo. What else are you paying for? You're paying for the brand, sabi ni LA. Correct. You're paying for marketing, you're paying for advertising. Criven, you're paying for the cup. Yeah, the design of the cup, the development and production of the cup. You're paying for corriente, tubig, utilities. That's true. You're paying for rent, assuming that it's not their own building. What else are you paying for? You're doing well. What else are you paying for? You're paying for the ambiance. You're paying for yung nag-design ng mga abubutlog. You're paying for the furniture. You're paying for the color of the wallpaper. You're paying for all of those things. Correct. What else are you paying for? Yes, Angela, the name, the branding, the rent. What else are you paying for? Gian, the pentel pen they are using to write your name in the cup. Correct. All of the equipment. You're paying for the pentel pen. You're paying for the Zonrox, panglinis ng CR. You're paying for the pamaypay nila sa backroom. You're paying for the service meals. You're paying for the duster. You're paying for the tissue na tinatapon mo lang naman. No? You're paying for all of these things. The time, yes, the service. No? You're paying for the sueldo of the baristas. What else are you paying for? You're paying for many other things. Correct, Yvonne? You're paying for machine maintenance because you need to maintain machines or else they break down. You're paying for the Wi-Fi. You're paying for the, yes, labor, resources, machines. You're paying for the permits, mayor permits, fire inspection permit, health permit, the garbage collection permit. You're paying for insurance. You're paying for all of those other things. You're also paying for the company, correct? You're paying for, is Starbucks a charity? Correct, Christy David? You're paying for the tax, business tax, which is different from regular consumer tax. Is Starbucks a charity? NGO, parang ganun. Is Starbucks a charity? Hello, is Starbucks a charity? No. Therefore, what are you paying for as well whenever you buy their products? Yeah, the service. What else are you paying for besides the things that we've mentioned? Precisely because Starbucks is not a charity, is not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. Yes, because they're a private company, therefore, what else is incorporated into the price? It's a business, personnel, maintenance. You have to keep the business running. Okay, I'll do it. You're paying for profit. You're paying for margin. You're paying the owner. Exactly. You know, kailangan may kita yung Starbucks, yung shareholders, yung may-ari, may margins. You're paying for that as well to keep it running. However, when you are eating at home, do you pay for all of those things? Not really. I don't think you need a mayor's permit to cook your hot dog at home. So you avoid all of those things. You avoid paying for business expenses. So I guess we can shorten this to that one. Not bad, Anne-Mary. By the way, classmates, if you have less interaction with other people, is it safer? Yes. Why? Now, pandemic, no libre modus. LOL, malay mo, ikaw pala yung nalilibre kapag kasama mo yung friends. Or you deprive yourself of the opportunity na mag-freeload na naman sa inyong mga kaibigan at inyong mga friendships as a dakilang PG ng inyong barkada. Joke. Because if there's lots of chit-chat, we can order more. Charot. Yeah, so less interaction with people means less chances of getting sick as well. So I guess we can incorporate 11 here. So we have two arguments. We have two arguments. Indeed, Pepito Manalo, less chances of contracting any contagious disease. Do you see what happened? From the initial task description, by focusing on the keywords that are found there, we were able to hone, refine our initial ideas so that we have valid arguments to use in our essay. How long did it take us though to do this? Isang oras, diba? Now, because we were doing it together, of course, no? And we are examining, tama ba to, hindi ba tama to, etc. During the exam, though, how much time do you have to write the entire essay? Task 2. How much time again? No, task 2, Rizal and task 2, 40 minutes. Kasama na yung 40 minutes, kasama dapat sa 40 minutes yung brainstorming na to, paghimay-himay ng keywords, for example. So, and you need to be able to do it quickly and correctly so that yung isusulat mo sa essay mo tama. You get better over time. It's something that you get used to. However, the more that you do it, the faster that you become. There is such a thing you see called wait, hold on. What's one? Sir, anong topics usually lumalabas sa ano? Anong topics usually lumalabas sa Ielts? That's a nice question to ask, right? So that you can read up, on these things and mas marami kang ideas na pwedeng pagpilian. Who here have taken the IELTS exam before? Nag-IELTS na dati. I suspect some of you have. Who here have already taken the IELTS exam? Anyone? Oh, no one. Okay. So all of you are IELTS newbies. Okay. Pepito Manalo. Christine Nasino and Mary. Catherine Riza Katis have taken the IELTS exam already. And by the fact that you're here, I imagine that maybe you didn't get the grades that you needed, or maybe you have expired. Ganyan. LA has a question. Sir, mahirap ba ang general IELTS? Depende naman. Depende yan. Depende sa kung anong grades ang kailangan mo, tsaka kung gaano ka kagaling. A common question that's asked, Sir, gaano katagal mag-prepare for the exam? How long does it take to be genuinely ready to take the tests? Sabi kasi ni LA, I will take my general IELTS next month. So, ang tamang sagot dyan is, sabi ni Joyce and Luis, mag-exam na po ako sa Saturday. Help me, Lord, talaga. Talaga. Sana si Jesus na lang yung nag-IELTS, no? For sure, papasa siya. No? Unfortunately, hindi ang Panginoong may kapal ang mag-exam. No? Tayo ang kailangan magtrabaho. Nasa Diyos ang awa, nasa tao ang awa. And how long does it take for you to get ready? Si LA next month mag-exam. Si Joyce and Luis sa Sabado mag-exam. EJ, 2 to 3 months provided you'll be guided by experts daw. Ganyan. The correct answer it depends. It depends on 3 things. First, your baseline skills. Like, where are you right now? Gaano ka kagaling sa listening, reading, writing, and speaking? Second, it depends on your goals. How high do you need to get? Obviously, if you need 4.0 lang, you're going to be ready much faster compared to somebody who needs a 7 or a 7.5. And finally, third, depends on your study schedule. 1 month between now and your exam is very different if you study every day versus if you study every other day versus if you study only during the weekends versus if you study once a week, right? So, how long does it take for you to get ready? Tatlong bagay. Baseline skills, yung goals mo, yung grades na kailangan mo, and your study schedule. When you are just beginning to review, the smartest thing to do is to first establish your baseline. Nasaan ka ba? Pagdating sa skills level mo. Fortunately, there are exercises that you could use for listening and for reading that are readily available. So, gawa ka lang ng exercise because you can already see kung kamusta ka sa listening and sa reading. For writing and for speaking, well, that's what coaching is for. At Niner, we have more than 100 coaches available 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week. Para kaming 7-Eleven. So that whatever time zone you're in, whatever your free time is, it would be relatively easy for you to schedule a writing or speaking session so that your performance can be evaluated so that you have a good idea of where you are. Medyo pang 5 ba yung speaking mo? Medyo pang 6 ba yung writing mo? Of course, we do not pretend that the grades that we give are accurate, like in the like examiner level accurate, but it's a good guide, to help you approximate around where your skill level is. When you're starting to review, the best thing to do at the start is to establish your baseline. And based on that, malalaman mo, anong gano'ng katagal ba ang dapat kong gugulin in order for me to get ready for the test. For some, it takes 2 to 3 months. For some, it takes 5 months. For some, it takes 1 week. It depends because of those different variables. Yung iba, career, every day nag-aaral for a month. Sobrang hardcore. But they're done in a month. Yung iba, weekends lang. And maybe that's good enough, but maybe it takes them a little bit longer. And that's why some people, they quit their jobs in order to focus on preparing for the test. May ganun ba dito? Is there anyone here who quit their jobs in order to be able to focus on their review? Si Ian, malapit na. Bilisan mo na. Si Criven, yeah. Filing local leave for a week prior to the exam. Hopefully that's enough for you, Emily. Joy San Luis is a Niner student. So hello there. Hello there. So yeah. It's important that you allot sufficient time for you to learn these things. Skills take time to learn. Hindi siya nara-rush, hindi siya naka-cram. You gotta do them, like what we did tonight. I'm sure, for example, that if you do this, that you got it. Gets naman, di ba? Mahulay, their keywords, focus on the keywords, Venn diagram, etc. You understand, but I'd like to point out that there's a huge difference between knowledge and skill. The IELTS exam is not a knowledge test, where if you know something, like in the board exam, then you're going to pass. But rather, the IELTS is a skills-based test. You got to do it. Para kang nag-board exam na return them. The IELTS doesn't really care very much what you know, but rather what it cares about is what you can do. Anong kaya mong gawin? Pakitaan mo ko anong kaya mong gawin. It's all about skills, and you learn skills through practice. During class, at Niner, we talk about more like this, more analysis like this, more collaborative examination of the keywords so that you get used to the process. Tapos, you get feedback on your performance for writing task 1 and writing task 2. from people who are familiar with the criteria, our coaches. Grizel Lendio says, I do both. She studies and works because she needs to pay the bills. That's true. Not everyone has the privilege of not everyone has the privilege of quitting their jobs. And that's why hindi madali ang ginagawa ng karamihan sa inyo kasi mahirap mag-aral at magtrabaho at the same time. Right? Amen. 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 Mahirap hatiin ang inyong katawan. Emily says, I agree. I guess NCLEX is a bit easier than IELTS. I totally agree with that. No, because the NCLEX, it's just read the book, right? Just read the book, understand what's in the book, then you're gonna pass. The IELTS, as you'd notice, hopefully, the topics can be about anything under the sun. Pwedeng agriculture, pwedeng oceans, or traffic, or climate change, or nuclear power, or war, or corruption in government, mga 203 billion pesos, mga ganyan. Aral work kid, correct Ria. EJ has input. Matter of how you plan your preparation based on your self-assessment, as well as the guidance and advice you wish to get from the experts. That's correct. And I imagine that for quite a lot of you, this IELTS exam is just the first step of a very long journey. Pag pumasa ka ng IELTS, you fly away already. Like, if you get the results, do you get on a plane and fly? Parang hindi pa, di ba? Parang hindi pa. Yeah, you still need to fix your documents. You still need to pass other exams. You still need to get a visa. Some of you still need to get an employer. Some of you still need to pass your scholarships. Diba? So, yeah. Grizel says, NCLEX has specific answers to familiarize. Unlike English exam, you have to think a million times to feed your vocabulary. That's true. That's true. No, it will take time, especially in the USA. There's still exam and the interview. Yeah, it's a long process. Pero kung walang English, wala tayong pinag-uusapan. Right? Passing this exam is the first step. So it's usually a good idea for you to focus your 100% on this exam, and then so that you can get it over and done with. And then you can focus on the next step, then the next step, then the next step, then the next step. LA, sir, is it true that the grades will depend on the examiner? Pinoy perfectionist, if foreigner, mas okay? Walang ganun. Not really. It doesn't really work that way. It doesn't really work that way. There are criteria that your examiners use in order to know what grade to give you. In writing, task 2, task response, coherence and cohesion, grammatical range and accuracy, and lexical resource. So hindi nakaayon sa race or sa ethnicity ng examiner mo kung whether they're going to be strict or not. Hindi naman ganun. Joy San Luis, may difference ba how IELTS is conducted in different countries? Yes, there is a huge difference. For example, if you take the IELTS in Japan, after the writing, mag-o-offer sila ng California Maki at ng tempura. Bawal mo siyang tanggihan. Kasi kung tatanggihan mo yung inaalok sa yung pagkain, magkaka-minus ka sa yung essay. Sa Republika naman ng Pilipinas, pagkatapos ng writing test, may biglang lalabas na kalabaw. Kailangan sakyan mo yung kalabaw. Or else, malas siya at baka hindi ka makarating sa yung speaking test naman. So it really depends on the country that you take it in. If you take it in the United States, charot, joke lang. Mamatay ang maniwala. LOL. So of course, there is no difference on how it is conducted in different countries. The IELTS is an international test. So it's meant to be standardized as much as possible. Grabe sila. Sir, sabi ni Pipito Manalo, is it true that British Council was giving an easier listening, reading, and writing than IDP? Of course, walang ganun. Of course, walang ganun. Um, in fact, if there's an IELTS exam in Manila, sa IDP, sa British Council, ganyan, identical yung sa lahat ng IDP at British Council test centers. Yung sa Cebu, yung sa Manila, yung sa Baguio, yung sa Davao, sa Iloilo, sa Bacolod. Pare-pareho ba? It's identical. So there is no difference in terms of that. Sabi ni Craven, sushi, sir, halata na joke. Charot. May ibang naniniwala kaya? No? Talaga, sa Japan pala, may libreng tempura. Doon na lang ako sa Japan. Wow! No? Wow. Griselendio. I run out of words when speaking task is started. That's a common thing to happen. The good thing about it is that once you start reading more, you end up having so many words to choose from. Having a good vocabulary is important. Wouldn't you agree? Diba, ang dami nating naiisip na words. Actually, sorry, ang dami rin naiisip na ideas. Like here sa restaurants and sa eating at home. Everyone goes to restaurants. Everyone eats at home as well. However, sometimes is it a struggle? Ano nga bang English? Has this ever happened to you where you struggle to translate what it is that you have in your brain? Like, how do I say that? Ano nga bang, how do I say this in the language? It's a common problem. And the way to address that is by reading up more in English. Isang malaking baul ng vocabs dapat. By practicing reading passages, you can increase your vocabulary. Yes, like you tend to forget the exact words. Indeed. And in order for you to expand your vocabulary, you should read. You have to see words in action. And when you read, you correct, Riven, you hit two birds with one stone. Not only does your vocabulary increase, but your familiarity with various topics increases as well. May idea ka. Pagdating ng climate change, this is sort of what is talked about. Ito yung kasama sa topic. Kapag economy, ito yung pinag-uusapan dyan. Pag government, ito yung mga pinag-uusapan dyan. Yeah. And attending this, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now, someone says, Tanu Mahi says, I always end up getting a 6, no matter what I do in writing. What could I do to improve that? Well, the first thing to do is to identify what the problem is. As I mentioned earlier, there are 4 criteria in writing. Task response, coherence and cohesion, grammatical range and accuracy, as well as lexical resource, which is the same as the vocabulary. Alin dun, may kailangan na ayusin? Which of these aspects do you need to improve on? And that is the first step in answering that question. Ano ang kailangan mong gawin? Well, saan ka ba kinukulang in the first place? Paano yung, sabi ni Joyce San Luis, paano yun kung na-adapt ko yung Singlish dito sa Singapore, yung la. Tapos nakapagsabi ako ng la. Minus ba yun agad? Focus talaga to. Not really. Not really. Once or twice doesn't really matter as far as I know, because the focus is on the vast majority of your language, and not just like one word, 2 words. For example, napapo ka o napaay ka during the test. That's not English. I is not English. Po is not English. But it doesn't really matter. And yes, you're welcome, Grizel. And Mary, yes, my reading and speaking are low. I tend to forget the exact word and keep on repeating ideas that affects my fluency. That is correct. So you do need to expand your vocabulary. Takes practice to get used in speaking the language. L.A. ka, sir, pahingi naman ng sample questions. Where can you find sample questions? Classmates, what should you do in order to get sample questions? YouTube, the internet, mga ganyan. Yeah, hindi mo naman kailangan pumunta ng barangay hall, tapos katokin mo si captain, si kapitan, uy, hello po, meron po ba kayong sample dyan? Mga ganun. Tapos mag-fill up ka ng form, ganyan. Tapos mag-offer ka ng merienda, charot. Enroll in Niners. Uy, Niner kami, and walang S. Walang S. Correct, Ian. The British Council and IDP websites. Correct. No, correct. At the end of the day, unlike other exams kasi, like the NCLEX and the other knowledge-based tests, where the questions and topics tend to repeat, sa Ielts kasi anything under the sun. It's literally agriculture, the ocean, outer space, mga ganyan, no? Education, the environment, economics, culture, society. It's really broad. It's really, really broad. And you cannot give what you do not have. So I cannot emphasize enough the importance of reading so that you'd have more ideas to play with. Let's go back to our screen here. If you, oops, oh, I lost Facebook. If we go back to our screen, you gave 17 arguments for view 1, you gave 18 arguments for view 2. Where did these arguments come from? It came from your stock knowledge regarding restaurants, home. You associated these words with other words. And this is something called schema. So you see, there is something called a schema. Everyone, type schema. Hello, hello. Schema. Type it. Hello. Schema. So you remember these things. Schema. Yeah. Have you heard of the word schematics? Scheme. Parang ganyan. Schematics, para siyang diagram. Tapos scheme is like a plan. Anyway, a schema is like a word or an idea, and all of the other words that you associate with it. Let's have a sample so that you get what I mean. If I give you this word, diabetes, what words come to mind? Classmates, give me 20 words. Insulin, sugar. High blood sugar. Type 1, pancreas. Type 2, diabetic ketoacidosis. What else? Diabetic foot. What else? Hello. Oral hypoglycemic drugs. Sure. Walang kamatayang metformin. Sugar in blood. Dialysis. Guys, diabetes. What else comes to mind? Diabetes. What else comes to mind? Glucometer. Short-acting insulin. Long-acting insulin. Hypoglycemia. Hyperglycemia. Uy, tipid sa brain cells. No? Hypo. Parang type 1, type 2 lang yan. Yes. Tapos na yung diabetic ketoacidosis and very sugary food. Diet in the first place. What else? Diabetes. Work with me. Retinopathy, finally. Obesity, yeah. Heart disease, neuropathy, and all of these other things. Thirsts, lifestyle disease. Good, good, good. Thank you. Let's try this one. Pneumonia. Oh, sorry, wait. X. Oh, wait, okay, let's work with this. Pneumonia. What words come to mind? Cope, huh? Cough. Breathing. Fever, lungs. Pneumonia. What else comes to mind? Antibiotic. Communicable disease. Secretions. Dyspnea. Sepsis. Oxygen. Severe. Bacterial pneumonia. Viral pneumonia. Talaga. Go. Community acquired. Pneumonia. Nosocomial. Tapos na yung dyspnea. Complications. Very good. Hospital acquired. Pneumonia. Phlegm. Good. Last three. Pneumonia. What else comes to mind? Pneumonia. What else comes to mind? X-ray. Okay. COVID. One last. Desaturation. Very scary. Thank you. Smoking. Sure. Let's try this. Let's try this. Government. What words come to mind? Corruption. Wow, number one talaga yung corruption pag government. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. 200, ano to? 203 billion ba to? Permits, tax, leaders, nepotism. Hala, puro negative. People. BBB versus Len. Ano yun? Services. Government. What words come to mind? Bribery. Hala. Local government unit. Extortion. Oh my God. Government. Red tape. Hala, puro negative. 4Ps. 4Ps? Yung Pantawid program, Ewan Philippine. Yeah. Service. Foundation. Red tagging. Wow. Plunder. Okay. Government. Human rights violation. Law. EJK. Government. What else comes to mind? Benefits. Okay. It'll help alleviate all of that. Order. Thanks. You're gonna see what happens later. Agriculture. What words come to mind? Rice. Farm. Food. Business. Animals. Livelihood. Farmers. Agriculture. What words come to mind? Oh, bumabagal. Vegetable. Export. Crops. Import. Agriculture. Tapos na yung livelihood, Pichi. Agriculture. What words come to mind? Agriculture. Life. Expenses. Life. Profit. Fertilizer. Vegetables. Tapos na yung vegetables, money. Soil. Land. Source. Tapos na yung farmers, Pepito. Last two. Medyo may struggle. Demand. One last. Supply. Very good. Climate crisis, or rather, climate change. What words come to mind? Weather, meats, carbon emissions, transport, pollution, deforestation, global warming, greenhouse gases, La Nina, cyclone, drought, El Nino, tree planting, UV rays, carbon footprint, landslides, climate change. Ala, bumabagal. Climate change. Factories. Tapos na yung drought. Extremes. Good, teaching. Storm surges. Government. Rising sea levels. Scary. People, ozone layer death. Odettes, like the storm, super typhoons. Ocean acidification, loss of biodiversity, lack of food security, death, extinction, mga ganyan dapat yan, famine, yeah. Let's try this. One last. Oops, sorry. Let's try this. Culture. Sige nga. What words come to mind? Language, well done. Diversity, not bad. Differences, nationality, food, arts. Ano yung race, dances, identity, songs, practices, attitudes. Food is finished, Pepito Manalo. Culture. Hello. Very good. Discrimination. Dress. Country. Native. Culture. Indigenous. Not bad. Religion. Traditions. Ethnic. Tapos na yung race, Ria. Color. Well done. Beliefs. No? Mga ganyan. Thanks. What happens here? What do you call all of these things? Scandal. Somebody who is not a healthcare professional, do you think yung mga words na to sa diabetes and pneumonia, do you think these are the words that somebody who is not a healthcare professional will come up with? Itong mga to. What you think? Syempre, no. Diba? Because in their experience, in their past, they didn't think of diabetes, pneumonia in terms of these things. They understood them in a different context. And therefore, their schema would be different as well. For example, if you were a layperson and I give you the word diabetes, what words do you think would come to mind? Kanina may nagsabi, Coke. Ano pa? You're a lay person. You're not a healthcare professional. Sugar. What else? Expensive. Death. Family. Ano pa? Diet, I guess. Gary V. Very good, Pichi. Gary V. Lifestyle, I'm not so sure about that. Food consumption, chronic disease. I'm not so sure these are the words that come to their minds. They don't think hereditary. I don't think that's the word that they use. Family, maybe, but not hereditary, right? Maybe not. Maybe not. Pneumonia. You're a layperson. What words do you think would come to mind? Pneumonia. They've heard of it, but maybe cough. Do people know that pneumonia comes with fever? Maybe. Hospitalized? Maybe. Yeah. Amoxicillin? Maybe. Not so sure about that. Common. Yeah. Smoking, infection. Common cause of death. Expensive. There you go. Uh, well done. So, mahirap magkaroon ng ideas for you to use in your essay writing if nothing comes to mind in the first place, right? Uh, the If you're asked about globalization, if you're asked about the economy or agriculture or the environment or culture, you need to have ideas already in place. You need to have things to work with. In other words, kailangan may laman yung schema. For example, and how do you get, rather, how do you make sure na may laman yung schema? How do you associate words with other words? Exposure, in other words, reading. Correct, Ian Mark. You have to read, and you have to see words in action. Something I'd like to recommend to you that is a good material for reading is this website called Rappler. Are you familiar with Rappler? Rappler. Have you heard of it before? Yes. What is Rappler? Anong klaseng website yan? Is it a showbiz website? Is it a medical journal? Nada? Yeah. News. Yes, it's a news website. Its CEO is Maria Ressa, the first Filipino winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. Bongga sila dahil. Rappler is great, not only because its articles talk about a wide range of, um, of topics, from showbiz to the Koreans, to current events, to the environment, to the economy, to culture, etc. But also because the level of language is also quite high, consistently high, in fact. So it's important for you to read, and it's completely free. Rappler is completely free, and it's new all the time. It costs 0 pesos. I suggest that you read it. The At the same time, though, ito na yung last point natin. For when you're given a task description, in essay writing, are you given only one keyword? Classmates. Kanina, di ba, kada view, medyo marami-rami tayong keywords. So, you see that you have to combine the schema of yours. Try natin. Ito yung pinaka-punchline natin. So you have these things when it comes to government. And you also have these things, maybe let's try agriculture. However, when you pay attention, however, when you think about them together, now what words come to mind? Pinagsama mo yung wait lang. Agriculture and government. When you look at that overlap, when you think of that overlap between these two concepts, what words come to mind? No supports. Farmers, Partnership, DAR, Department of Agrarian Reform, Department of Agriculture. Sure. Less prioritized. Subsidy, good job. Are farmers important? Wait lang. Are farmers important? Yes, they are. How many times do we need farmers? Every day. We need them 3 times a day. For those who eat more often, you need them more often. Yeah. So backbone of the economy, people, guys, government, agriculture, together. What comes to mind? What words come to mind? Core, opportunity. It is the duty of government to create opportunities for our farmers, sure. And our farmers provide opportunities to government as well to ensure that they get to do the job. Training, NFA rice, National Food Authority rice, yeah. Enhancements, sure. It is the duty of government to enhance agriculture. Anything else? Enhance government, agriculture. Those two things together. What else comes to mind? Imports, exports, supports. Okay, what else? You're doing well. Farm to market roads, lifeblood. Well done. Allocation of funds. Funding, one last. Government, agriculture, together. Color. Partners. Thanks. Thank you very much. I think you have an idea what's going to happen next. So these three concepts together. When you think of government and agriculture and climate change at the same time, now what words come to mind? Programs, mining, irrigation, exploitation of resources, climate change, law, less resources, illegal logging for agriculture, I guess. Yung kaingin, where they like burn trees so that they have like space to plant stuff. Illegal logging, globalization, maybe. Transportation, government, agriculture, climate change. Deficiencies, hunger, indeed. You don't support the farmers. Are farmers affected by climate change? Classmates, are farmers affected by climate change? Of course. Less production of goods due to drought. Can you give me an example of climate change? Typhoon Odette, for example. Our farmers lose billions whenever in a year because of like disasters and typhoons, droughts, mainit, sobrang init na, diba? And therefore maybe the plants would not grow. Wildfires. Australia was on fire before the pandemic. Do you remember? Do you remember? Yeah. The butterflies are dying. The butterflies we need them for pollination, but oh my God, they're dying. The agriculture requires irrigation. Irrigation comes from rivers. Rivers are drying up. So No river, no water, no food. Huh. Right. So, fertilizers poison the water. At least synthetic fertilizers, they poison the ground, the dynamic fishing, ecosystem suffering, tree planting, mangrove maintenance, roadway construction, camellia homes that are converting our farms into subdivisions, roadway construction, farmers being in perpetual poverty and therefore their children no longer want to be farmers. That's also part of climate change. High cost of farming products, the seeds, the equipment, lack of enough funds, etc. Most farmers in the country do not own the land that they farm on. You know? So parang may boundary pa sila. RTL, yeah, etc. So what do you notice? Individually, these keywords, these concepts, we have an idea about them, but tackle, we need to tackle them together, in the context of our writing task to task description. You don't get to pick and choose. Ay, wait, marami ako alam sa government and sa agriculture. Wala masyado sa climate change. So I would just focus on government and agriculture. That is the road to being off topic. As we established earlier, it's like a Venn diagram. It has to be about this, it has to be about that, and it has to be about this as well. Hitting the bullseye in the middle, incorporating all of your ideas, all of the keywords, it is your path to success. You can't do that if you don't pay attention to the keywords, and you won't have any integration to do if you have no ideas that come out in your head when you see the keywords. So the pinaka takeaway, hopefully, from this exercise of ours, number one, magbasa ka please, because you cannot give what you do not have. Rappler is an excellent resource. I fully recommend it. Two, himay-himay keywords. You don't get to pick and choose which keywords you are going to tackle. It has to be everything. You need to hit the bullseye. And then the last lesson is that you have to do all of this quickly and correctly, so that before you write your essay, it's not a waste of time. It actually saves you time because it increases your chances of success being on topic. Huwag manghinayang sa 5 minutes na you're gonna allocate to come up with proper arguments. Maghinayang ka dun sa buwan or taon na masasayang dahil nag-Ielts ka pero shit bumagsak ka kasi you didn't get the grade that you needed for writing. Dun ka manghinayang. Diba? So yeah, so hopefully this exercise of ours in developing ideas is something that you would be able to make use of in your own review for your exam. At Niner, we do more of this in class, and we do offer coaching so that we could evaluate how well you are able to apply concepts such as this in the context of the examination. It was good working with you today. And always thank you for IFNG for having us. Take care. You're welcome. Bye-bye. Oh, is Jeffrey still here? Let's wait for them. Bye-bye, bye-bye. Shukran. There you go. There's Jeffrey. All right.
Hello. Yeah. There's a bit back. Yeah, thank you so much, Sir Pheelyp, and to everyone. Yes, thank you so much, Sir Pheelyp. See you again next week. So if you have questions with 9.09er, just message them directly on their Facebook. So everyone, thank you so much and good evening. Bye.